You'll often hear it said that we can't understand the future or the present without first knowing the past. Well, that's quite a serious issue because our understanding of the past is nowhere near as solid as we like to believe it is. Archaeologists spend their lives unearthing history, but sometimes what they reveal doesn't just rewrite the narrative, it unsettles them. From ancient death towers constructed entirely from human skulls to underground rituals drenched in blood, today we're diving into the most disturbing discoveries from ancient civilizations. Let's start with Number 15. Maya's Blood Cave. Remember the days when we used to think that an ancient sacrifice simply meant chucking the odd virgin into a volcano? Well, we got it so very wrong. Or at least in the case of the Mayans, it seems we did. In Guatemala's Cueva de Sangre, which means blood cave, archaeologists made some gruesome discoveries of human sacrifice rituals among the ancient Mayas. The cave, which resides under the ancient Mayan city of Dos Pilas, was first discovered back in the 1990s and is part of a cluster of 12 caves that the Mayan people would have used between 400 BC and 250 AD. This wasn't a single sacrifice. The remains included adults, children, and what looked like family groups. Researchers believe these were offerings to Chak, the rain god, likely made during periods of extreme drought when desperation turned ceremonial. With neatly stacked skull caps found in one chamber and the discovery of the trauma these poor people endured, experts are now starting to get a better understanding of Maya human sacrifices. Number 14. The Screaming Mummies of Guanajuato. Their mouths were stretched open, their eyes are wide, and their arms are twisted in fear. These weren't calm, preserved corpses. They looked like people who died mid-scream. The mummies found beneath the city of Guanajuato in Mexico are believed to be victims of a 19th century cholera outbreak. But several bodies were discovered in rigid, panicked poses, prompting some researchers to believe many were entombed alive. At the time, medical science wasn't advanced, and people could be declared dead prematurely. When some bodies were later exhumed, they were found clawing at their coffins. The twisted limbs, open jaws, and terrified expressions told a different story. They likely regained consciousness after burial. Today, these accidental mummies are displayed in a museum, and each one is more haunting than the last. What was once just an unfortunate medical misjudgment now reads like a slow-motion horror scene. If you love horror things in life, then be sure to visit this creepy place. It's amazing. Number 13. The Mesopotamian Burial Pits. In a royal cemetery dating back over 4,000 years, archaeologists uncovered a scene that looked like a morbid ceremony caught mid-act. Dozens of skeletons were arranged in perfect rows, some gripping cups, others adorned with jewelry and musical instruments. For decades, it was assumed they'd willingly consumed poison in loyalty to their deceased ruler. But recent analysis told a colder story. Traces suggest the victims were likely drugged and murdered, not volunteers in any noble farewell. Some even showed signs of blunt trauma or suffocation. This wasn't a ritual of honor. It was a staged slaughter. Whether it was fear, loyalty, or coercion that brought them there, they were placed like actors in a scene no one would survive. Cups still in hand, their eyes likely closed. A final performance for a god king, paid in real blood. Their deaths weren't quiet, they were orchestrated. And the silence they left behind was anything but peaceful. Number 12. Crucifixion heel bone discovery. Archaeologists weren't expecting what they found in a limestone tomb near Jerusalem. A man's heel bone pierced clean through with a thick iron nail. It dates back to the 1st century AD and became the only physical proof ever uncovered of Roman crucifixion. The nail had bent on impact, likely striking a hard knot in the wooden beam, which made it impossible to pull out. So, he was buried with it still jammed through his bone. This small, brutal detail upended what we assumed about ancient executions. Back in those days, crucifixion wasn't just symbolic pain. It was raw, permanent damage. Until then, people thought the body was always removed from the cross and the nails reused. This discovery showed the opposite. Not only was it more violent than we'd realized, but it also left behind a bone-chilling record. Literally. A sharp, rusted nail, sealed in a man's body for 2,000 years, screamed the truth louder than any scroll ever could. Number 11. The mystery of Mohenjo-Daro's dead. In the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, dozens of skeletons lay motionless in the streets, arms twisted, faces down, as if death had dropped from the sky. The city was once a jewel of the Indus Valley, renowned for its symmetry, drainage systems, and urban planning. Yet what killed these people remains unclear. There were no injuries. In fact, there were no signs of war, just bodies frozen mid-motion. What's worse is that radiation levels in the area were strangely high, well beyond what's expected from ancient soil. That sparked theories about a prehistoric explosion, possibly even nuclear. Mainstream archaeology has tried to explain it with natural disasters or slow decay, but no explanation really fits the layout. Some of the dead seem to have collapsed mid-run. Whatever happened, it didn't give them time to flee, fight, or prepare. They just fell. Mohenjo-Daro still stands as a riddle, not because of how it lived, but because of how it died. Number 10. Tiya stone pillars. All right, guys, now let's move to Tiya, Ethiopia, where the site of 46 stone pillars, known as the Tiya stelae, still puzzles archaeologists. These supermassive monoliths are etched with striking symbols, some standing upright, others leaning or already collapsed. Ethiopia has many ancient carved stones, but the Tiya markers don't resemble anything else in the country. Every effort to date them has come up short. The closest estimates place them somewhere between 500 and 1,000 years old, but that's the best researchers can do. Each pillar features carvings of swords, geometric patterns, and human forms. Some believe they mark graves since several tombs were found nearby, but that's still speculation. The site was named a UNESCO World Heritage location over 30 years ago, yet no one can explain exactly what these stones represent or who placed them there. Even with global recognition, the story behind Tiya's stones remains one of archaeology's unsolved chapters, preserved without context, meaning, or confirmed origin. Number 9. Neanderthal child eaten by prehistoric bird. In 2018, Polish archaeologists made a discovery that sent a chill through the anthropology world. In a cave, they uncovered finger bones so eroded that they had been partially digested. DNA testing wasn't possible, but the layer of soil, paired with nearby Neanderthal-era tools, suggested the bones belonged to a young Neanderthal child. The predator was a massive prehistoric bird. The remains were found in a deep section of the cave, suggesting the child may have been taken or scavenged by the bird, then partially eaten. The image it conjures is brutal. Small hands, devoured by a creature with no fear of human form. It also offers a glimpse into how dangerous life was back then. People didn't just worry about the cold or starvation. There were birds big enough to kill you. The bones were dated to roughly 115,000 years ago, long before the rise of civilizations like ancient Egypt. Some threats, it seems, had wings and talons. Number 8. Dighton Rock. Dighton Rock has sparked fierce debate in the U.S. for far longer than the U.S. has existed. First mentioned by Cotton Mather in 1690, this coastal boulder in Berkeley, Massachusetts, is covered in mysterious inscriptions, none of which have ever been definitively translated. Over the years, the markings have been linked to Native Americans, Norse explorers, Portuguese seafarers, and even ancient Phoenicians. Among all the contenders, Portuguese navigator Miguel Corte Real remains a strong possibility, though the artistic style doesn't quite match. Some fringe researchers even suggest early Chinese sailors left the inscriptions in the 1400s. There's no consensus, only theories. What's certain is that no one truly knows who made the carvings or why. The rock has since been removed from its original location and preserved in a local museum to protect it from erosion and vandalism. While the debate rages on, Dighton Rock sits in quiet defiance, still holding on to a message we may never fully understand. Number 7. Devil's Town. In southern Serbia, there's a super strange corner of land where over 200 thin rock towers jut out of the ground, many with heavier stones balanced perfectly on top. Locals call it Javolja Varosh, which translates to Devil's Town, and the landscape does feel unsettling. Scientists attribute the formations to erosion, softer earth wearing away while the caps of harder stone protect the narrow pillars beneath. Still, the place feels off. Some of the formations look almost humanoid, like petrified figures frozen mid-movement. That's where the legend comes in. A cursed wedding party turned to stone for breaking a sacred law, siblings marrying siblings. Two nearby springs add to the strangeness, one acidic, the other salty. Neither is drinkable, yet many claim the water has healing qualities. Others report headaches, dizziness, or nausea after visiting, stirring talk of an unknown energy source or hidden force. Whether shaped by myth or geology, Devil's Town leaves people feeling like they aren't alone there. What do you think about it? Number 6. Gunung Padang. The structure rising from West Java's hills was long thought to be just another natural mound until new research suggested it might be the oldest pyramid on Earth. Known as Gunung Padang, this site is now believed to date back as far as 25,000 BCE, smashing through everything we thought we knew about early civilization. The core is made from andesite lava, shaped and stacked into terraces. What's more unsettling is the possibility that the original structure began as a natural hill, which was later carved and developed. If the dating holds, it means someone, or something, was building in stone during the Ice Age, long before agriculture or cities even existed. The lead researcher, Danny Hillman Natawijaja, is sticking to the claim despite heavy skepticism. Critics argue the dating may reflect natural rock layers, not human construction. But the original team has invited others to dig for themselves, because if they're right, history needs rewriting. Number 5. Gobustan Rock Art. Speaking of ancient mysteries set in stone, let's look at the enigmatic petroglyphs of Gobustan in Azerbaijan. The carvings scattered across this vast site are overwhelming in both scale and age. Some experts believe the oldest of them dates back more than 40,000 years. This massive open-air gallery tracks human presence from the Paleolithic period through to medieval times. The exact number of carvings remains unknown as new figures continue to surface, but researchers estimate at least 6,000 separate etchings. While some are basic animal sketches or plant outlines, others depict people dancing, hunting, or performing rituals. Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl was the first to document the site properly in 1981. He visited it 4 times before 2000 and died believing that some carvings were Viking in origin. Though many dismiss that claim, stylistic similarities to Norse art have kept the theory alive. Whether or not Vikings ever reached this land, Gobustan's rock art remains super timeless and deeply mysterious. Number 4. The Melnik Earth Pyramids. Near Bulgaria's smallest town, Melnik, sandstone spires shoot skyward in weird, jagged patterns, stretching across the landscape like natural sculptures. Geologists explain them as the product of erosion, wind, rain, and time wearing away layers of soft rock. But visitors often leave with more questions than answers. Some formations look oddly symmetrical, like they've been shaped intentionally. Certain clusters even appear to mirror ancient sacred geometry. That's led to whispers that these aren't natural features, but reused or improved by ancient civilizations. The region surrounding the formations is packed with history, ruins from the Thracians, medieval monasteries and old wine cellars, all built right into the stone. Some researchers speculate there may be underground chambers or hidden cavities beneath the formations, but nothing's been officially excavated or confirmed. Whatever the case, the Melnik pyramids stand as one of those geological oddities that seem to blur the line between nature's hand and something more deliberate. Number 3. Codex Selden's hidden pages. By the time the Spanish conquistadors and other Europeans had finished conquering the Americas, almost nothing remained of the original native manuscripts. Only 20 indigenous codices are confirmed to have survived, 5 of which are Mixtec in origin. The most famous of these, the Codex Selden, was produced around 1560 and long believed to be fully deciphered until 2016. That year, researchers uncovered a second set of illustrations buried under chalk and plaster on the final pages. The discovery is remarkable, but no one yet knows what the images mean. The scenes are baffling even to lifelong scholars, showing women seated in royal councils and a recurring symbol of a twisted cord beside a flint blade. The glyph hasn't been seen in any other Mixtec manuscript, and the fact that it was intentionally hidden raises even more questions. This could have been highly sensitive knowledge, information someone wanted to be buried. Sadly, we may never fully unlock what those secret pages are trying to tell us. Number 2. The Pyramid of the Moon. When archaeologists breached a sealed tunnel beneath the Pyramid of the Moon in Teotihuacan, they didn't expect to find a sanctuary of blood. Inside were ritual chambers filled with obsidian blades, animal bones, and human corpses, many decapitated and bound. This wasn't a burial. It was a sacrificial site carved beneath one of Mesoamerica's most powerful temples. The victims were arranged with eerie precision, sometimes alongside jaguar skeletons, which were sacred to Teotihuacan's warrior class. In one burial, 4 humans were laid in cardinal directions, hands tied, skulls crushed. The chambers seemed to be used to consecrate the space above, anchoring spiritual energy with human life. Even researchers who had studied sacrifices for decades were shaken by the volume and intensity of the violence. This wasn't symbolic bloodletting, it was methodical slaughter. Every offering told a story, not of peace or prayer, but of power, fear, and control built into stone and silence. What do you think about it? Number 1. Haida Gwaii totem poles. On the southern end of an archipelago off the coast of mainland Canada, a collection of hauntingly majestic totem poles stands as a tribute to the rich artistic legacy of the Haida people. Known as Haida Gwaii, or Land of the Haida, the region includes more than 3,600 islands and holds an oral history stretching back 7,000 years. The largest cluster of these monumental totems is found in the ancient Haida village of Ninstance, where 26 towering poles remain. These sacred carvings also appear at several other abandoned village sites, including Hot Spring Island, a favorite among kayakers. The southern portion of the archipelago, where the totems stand, has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Visitors can also witness these masterpieces outside Skidegate at the Haida Heritage Center in Kail Nagai, where traditional and contemporary poles are displayed beside a working carving studio. Canadian painter Emily helped preserve their legacy through her 1930s portraits of these once-forgotten villages. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.